a spiritual awakening journey. Do you actually know what are the stages of a spiritual awakening? Or would you like to know? So maybe you understand which stage you are and what you need to do to continue in your journey. So then stick with me because today we're going to talk about the 7 stages of spiritual awakening. Hi, my name is Carmen Benton, intuitive mindset coach and energy healer. And this is my new show that doesn't have a name yet. And I would love some help from you to help me name the show. That's not going to stop me from putting this content out to you and, educate you in this journey of spiritual awakening. So, the first step of the spiritual awakening is the birth, right? So we all come into this life and into this 3D world, and we are still very much connected with divine consciousness. But as we are born here, we start to really rely on the 3 lower chakras. So your root, your sacral, and your solar plexus. And even though you're still very much connected, as you are taught to fit in this society, in this 3D world, you begin to forget your connection with divinity. And this is where the spiritual awakening journey begins. And I like to see it as a cycle because if you believe in reincarnation, you know that you were part of this consciousness, collective consciousness, and decided to come back into this life reality to work on some things, your karmic lessons, so you can evolve as a soul, right? And so, but you were connected. Your spiritual awakening was full until you came back here. And now, after birth, your journey for spiritual awakening begins again. And then we have the second stage. The second stage is your ego. So, what happened is that as you grow up, you start experiencing fear and traumas start happening to you. Childhood inner wounds start evolving and they create your personality as you show up today. I've been talking about how the childhood wounds relate to the Enneagram types. And this is all because your childhood traumas, it could be adolescent too, but mostly your childhood traumas between the ages of 7 and 14 determine how you react, how you get triggered, what emotions you decide to live and fully feel. If you actually have some of those, because some people actually have suppressed their emotion completely, and also how you actually which emotions you decide to like suppress because they are too painful to feel. And this is all based on your childhood traumas. So your ego, your mind, the part of you that lives based on fear starts to develop. So that's stage 2. I am fully confident that most people have gone through stage 1 and stage 2 that are watching today. And now comes stage 3. And this is where you have your first choice. So stage 3 is when you decide to be in control, right? You have this fear of the unknown. And you know you need to go get a job so you can pay your bills. You might feel like you have to get married to comply with society. And you have kids, right? Because it's what we all do. And the choice is, do you stay there, living in this material world where you have money to pay things, and then there's this cycle where most people go in inertia? Or maybe you have this calling where you know that there is more to life than that. So I remember being in stage 3 of my spiritual awakening path, I don't know, back like 16 years ago. After I had my first son, I had a very good job making over 6 figures. I was married, I had a nice house, nice cars, I travel, but I wasn't feeling fulfilled. There was something missing. And that's how I started this journey. I knew there was more to life than just, what everybody says it is. So your choice at this point is to stay where you are or to continue your spiritual awakening. So, are you in stage three? I suspect there's some people watching this video that might be in stage three. Then comes stage four. Stage four is giving, right? So all of a sudden you realize that giving actually feels great. You want to be of service of humanity. Maybe you start volunteering. A lot of people just wants to help others, but there's a problem here, and is that in this stage, giving comes with attachments. Giving comes with the subconscious need to receive something back. And this something could be a compliment, could be a thank you, could be money, can be love and connection, can be recognition. So basically, you're using this giving to fulfill your needs, the needs of the personas that get triggered in your mind when you encounter emotions that you don't know how to process and react. So, a lot of people that I encounter these days and I work with in my coaching practice are in stage four. They are full of love to give to the world, but they are still attached to that in relationships. Maybe you cook and clean. Maybe you are, you work your ass off to bring money to your family. Maybe you just like want to please everybody, right? You're giving all the time in expense of your own um, self-care and self-love, but you are expecting something back. You don't have that unconditional love quite yet developed. And most likely the reason for that is some sort of block. And the blocks that I see in this area are two. One is a block in your heart chakra, and the other one is blocks in your mindset. So because of those inner child wounds that we mentioned in stage two are developed, they are real. We all have them. If you haven't worked through them and rewrite your story, replace your beliefs, address your needs and the personas, they are going to come back every time a situation that feels like to your nervous system as that original situation where you develop these wounds, and they're going to trigger you. And sometimes they come in the most unexpected ways. So it is very critical that you work on your mindset and your energy to release those blocks. And then you have a choice here. You can decide if you are going to continue to live this way, which many people do, where you know, you go through life and you get triggered and you have arguments and you feel like crap because you got triggered and you snap at your kids or you snap at your husband or you snap at an employee or a coworker or whatever. But then, you pull yourself together and it's just a cycle. And you live basically between this crystal box, the the valleys and the peaks, where you have some boundaries, but there's the glass ceiling, and you wonder why you cannot go past. And you cannot go past because you have these blocks sitting on top of it. So you want to make sure you release those blocks. Or you can decide to let go of these things and continue on your spiritual journey in your awakening. And then you get into stage five. Stage five is when you need that enlightenment, when you know that feeling, how great it feels to live a daily life of joy, a daily life where triggers are minimum, if not part of the past, right? Where it is painful to even think about getting triggered. So it's not that you're not going to get triggered. And I want to make that very clear because people think that you're going to go from, getting triggered all the time to living this life of Mother Teresa. No, that is not what's happened. What happened in this stage is that you know how awesome it feels to feel good. And so what motivates you, it's pleasure and not pain. And so you get triggered because life happens, right? And now you can see it happening. You can see it unfolding. And then you start looking because you have the tools and you start looking into your mind, trying to find the thought that is causing the trigger, or you have the tools to either have someone do an energetic healing on you, or you can do it on yourself. So the other day, I got an email from someone I haven't met before, and it triggered me AF, literally. And I was sitting in my bed thinking about why is this thing triggering me? And it was so interesting. And I felt so great to actually not react to the email like I would have 6 months ago, but instead calm down, analyze what's happening. What was I thinking? Why was this triggering me? And also being able to clear all cords and blocks that were attached to that feeling. And within 30 minutes, I was perfectly fine. And that is what I mean with that seeking of enlightenment, where you actually know that the reward that you get on feeling joy and happiness, it's superb to any other thing. And you don't like give in to the drama anymore. From this stage of enlightenment, decisions come from your heart. Your heart chakra is fully opened. And I have worked a lot on opening my heart chakra. In fact, the energy healing I did on New Year's Eve, which is available to anybody yet, you can get it for free. I actually worked a lot on opening your heart chakra because that's where you manifest from your heart. And you can see in the feedback that I got from that healing that most people felt it in their heart. And that was my intention, to open your heart chakra so you can manifest everything you want in 2023. So if you want that healing and you don't have it yet, I'm going to put the link in the comments below. And then from here, you move into the stage 6, which is the wisdom, meaning your mind is fully awake and connected to consciousness, to divine. So your third chakra fully opens and you start speaking your truth very unapologetically. So in this stage, you have another choice, which is what are you going to do with your ego? So I said your mind is fully awake, right? Like you understand the concept of being conscious, eating consciousness, or acting with consciousness. You understand that emotions are the precursors of all manifestations. You understand that you vibrate and that frequency attracts everything you want into your life. But there's still ego, and the ego is never going to go away, right? So we tend to reject it in early stages of the spiritual awakening because it gets in the way of the spiritual awakening. But when you get to the wisdom stage and you decide to continue with that spiritual awakening, the work is to make friends with your ego, right? It's there to protect you. It's served you your entire life. But what role is your ego going to play now? Now that your heart is fully open and your decisions coming from your heart, your throat chakra is fully open, and you can speak through your third eye is fully open, and you can understand what's happening around you. What is the ego going to do? So how can you integrate the ego into your entire existence? So that is the work at hand there. And then it comes the seventh stage, which is you're fully awakened spiritually, right? And that point, your heart is fully awake. So before we said your heart was open, but not necessarily awake. Your mind was awake, but now your heart is awake. And you live in this oneness, consciousness, harmony with everything that's around you, including your ego. And enlightenment and joy is basically where you live. All your chakras are fully open. So here's the question: where do you think you are in this spiritual awakening path? And I want to tell you that, you can have pieces of each ones. Obviously, I'm not on stage 7 yet, but I do know my chakras are all opened. And I love to be in enlightenment and joy. Do I live there all day, 24/7? No. Um, but I know, I feel I am mostly on stage 6. And sometimes I go back to stage 5. So 5, 6 with hints of 7 is where I stand. So where do you think you are? Now, how do you continue this path in your spiritual awakening? It's a question I get all the time. So as I said, I started in stage 3 about 16 years ago. It took me a long way to go from 3 to 4 to 5. The 4 to 5 was probably the longest. And it was because I was only addressing my mindset. And there were layers so deep and so painful that were hidden in my heart. Remember that we said in stage 5, your heart chakra prevails, it fully opens, right? So I had to work a lot on my heart chakra to be able to move from 4 to 5. But I couldn't do that with mindset. I had to do it with energy. It was the energy component that actually tipped me from 4 to 5. And it happened so quickly. And once I was there, I was able to move from 5 to 6, mostly within a couple of months. So this is why when I work one-on-one with my clients, I do a combination of mindset and energy, because that is the powerful combination that was able to unlock my gifts, and it was able to catapult me from stage 4 to 6 in such short period of time. So I have a couple of things for you. One, there's a free energy healing. I recommend you to get it. I got very, very good feedback. I did it live, but many people have listened to it as they're recording. The intention that I put in that healing was that anybody that came into that container that I created with sacred geometry can get the results of that healing. So it's fully to open your heart. So if you want to get into that stage 4, this is the healing that you need to go get. And then if you are ready to actually transform your life and start shifting all those blocks in your mindset and your energy, there is nothing better than a one-on-one, customized, tailor-made for you session. So we can work on a session, you and me together, and from there you can decide whether or not you want to continue this relationship. So this is, as I said, the first episode. I'm going to have weekly episodes. Next week I have a special guest, and we're going to be talking about light language. So I can't wait to see you there. Bye-bye.